Welcome back. So Wednesday afternoon, I pretty much spent the whole afternoon in the fuselage clearing out these openings to allow us to lay up these reconfigured hard points for where the door hooks are going to attach to. And this is something that wasn't anticipated earlier on, but now we've figured out exactly how we're doing it. So what it means is we have to lay in a hard point here that sort of mates up with the inside of the fuselage skin, and then we'll basically be building back over the top of that. So it'll end up being super strong, but it just means more work. But at least we're on the road to getting all the door stuff done. Anyway, you'll see more on that in a little while. And on Thursday morning, I had to run down to Aircraft Spruce to pick up some hardener because we'd run out of the structural hardener. We still have resin, and the Canadian company that's sending us that is going to be a couple of weeks before they can send us the next big drums. And if you actually try and get it delivered, you have to pay hazardous delivery charges, which is insane. So anyway, I had to pick it up. Yeah, meanwhile, the guys are back in the shop already starting the layup for these various rib molds. As you can see, the ones there that have the black top coat on them are underway, and the other ones are all sort of prepped up and ready to go. So there was 22 altogether to do of these. And I think what they got there, the first 7 or something, that are underway. And there's a couple more that were sort of stragglers, didn't fit on the big board, so they had to end up on their own little board. And here Jeff's got the upper strake skins prepped for where the fuel tank filler caps are going to be bonded into place. And so we ordered and received these ones there that basically have a flange where you can bond them in, so they go one side of the skin and then a layup goes over the other. So that's what they look like there, and they're just plain lightweight locking caps from Aircraft Spruce. So you'll see here in a little bit how they get bonded in. And you might recall last time I was laying up these little bits of foam around where the door locks are going to be in the first door, and so I finished the ones there for the lower section there on the hook lock boxes. So it's now it's time to get those ones laid up, and you'll see that in a little bit. And onto their roof hinges here, you can see Jeff's gone and put some little clay in there, and those green little blobs to fill the holes there. Those are the pilot holes that we're going to be using for re-drilling the hinge sleeve holes. And so he's ready to put the carbon fiber on those and start building up those bosses there, so they have the structural rigidity that we need for those. So all good to go on that one. And as you can see here, he's got the first 2 done. So he's put, I think, ended up being about 0.15 of an inch thick of layups in there. So that'll give us exactly the strength we need as per Mark's calculations for us. And the 2 coats of top coat of setup. So here's the guys laying down some cabosil on where the rubber profile is in order to get ready to lay the lightweight glass on those molds. And on Thursday afternoon I had a chance to quickly weld up and then bolt on these braces to help support the engine stand, just to stop it from sort of getting in this rocking motion, and so that actually fixed the problem. And you'll see here in a second, went to start the engine. This is the first time it's been started in over a month, and you'll see how it works. So I'm pretty happy with how that thing started after not running for a month. It starts better than my car does. And I ran it up for a little bit, but still unable to control the prop, and ultimately just loaded up too much, and I just had to stop running it. So still have to wait for these oil seals that are going to be shipping on the 31st now. And now we're on to Friday, and the guys are laying up the next set of these molds for the ribs, and these again are ribs for the rudders and the winglets. And here's Zach just finishing up putting the peel ply on the last of these ones. So as you can see, they're all pretty much done. These all still need to get their heavyweight layers put on, but that'll be next week, and I think they'll probably just get all the lightweight layers done for all of them first, and then do the heavyweight layers after that. And this is that upper elevator skin, and this one just needed the heavyweight layers. You see Devon's over there mixing up resin, and Zach's out there wetting down the heavyweight fiberglass for that one. And it didn't take them too long, and here's the finished product there with the peel ply on that. So that one will get some bracing as well put on it, and that's mainly what the peel ply is on there for, so you don't have to sand it in order to bond the bracing to it. And here's that other one for the lower skin. As you can see there, Jeff has patched every other one of those openings there, just with a temporary patch that will pop out. And I just needed a little bit more primer on there, and then some waxing, and it'll be ready to pull the mold, or the first mold off of that, and then I'll switch out those ones and go to the other side. And here's Jeff just wetting out these patches for those hinge bosses. So he just wets them out one at a time on a bit of cardboard there, and then turns around and puts them up there on the hinge boss. And as you can see there on the left hand side, that's the one he's working on right there. And he managed to get both of those done. So, and of course you'd already seen the ones on the other side, so basically those both sides have been reinforced now. And moving more onto the door stuff, so here's the pin lock, what it looks like. And there's 7 of these on each door, so 14 in total. And the blue there is the actual pin, and most of this stuff is already machined, although the box we've got to create yet, because the dimensions is not something we can get off the shelf. So anyway, I had the steel for this that I ordered a while ago. This is 4340 steel, and I had to cut it to length, so I just did that, just laid up a little flat strip there so I could get them all the same length. And then I put them in the drill like this, and using the bench grinder, just put a little bevel on the end of them. So I had the grinder like that, and turning it in the drill, and just put the bevel on there. And the next step was to take them over to the machine there and drill a little hole in the side there, so the little swing arm can get attached to them to make them slide in and out. So that's how I did that on the machine, and just to get it nice and aligned. So those are all done now. And here's Jeff in the process of putting in these filler cap sort of surrounds, I guess you want to call it, or flanges, I guess, flange. And so they get bonded in there on the underside of the skin, and then another layer of carbon fiber, or yeah, at least one layer of carbon fiber gets laid up over the top after having a bit of sort of carboxyl resin mix sort of put in there to smooth everything out. So as you can see, that's how that gets done, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. That's one of them, and I don't know why they anodize those red, but anyway, you won't hardly see that because all that's exposed is just basically the very lip, and I'll get to show you that next week when that's flipped over. And here you can see with the one layer of carbon fiber sort of just to bond it in place, and some peel ply over the top of that. So those are pretty much done now. Filler caps are now in the box. And back on the doors here, a mix of that resin and the hardener that I picked up, and some micro created what I needed to sort of get that foam sort of all bonded into place there, in preparation for doing the wet layup of carbon fiber over the top of that, in order to have that sort of boxed in nature for where the locks are all going to live. So that'll be done next week when that gets laid up. And finally, Jeff's got the light going on, and there's a regular incandescent bulb in there with a thing over the top just to keep it nice and warm in the fuselage, and just help those layups cure so we can drill those holes and put the doors on next week properly. Anyway, that's our update for this week. Thanks again for watching. Please like and share with your friends, and if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do so, and we will catch up with you again next week.